Fucking last one. Damn. Oh, have to order more. Hmm. We'll give you guys something to watch while we do this.
Hey, owner. I've met him again, but I'll take it again. Look here, man. I used to run with this guy. What's his handshake? The other side of the coin. I'm just doing some show till we're land. He's talking about another generation. He forgets I'm old enough. I never got any little girl where she was. She had me, and then she went to prison. And then we stuck out on the road by myself, man. Used to hear on camera. I haven't seen it. Somebody here knows got the bulldog knows got them from California. Of course. And tied him around a tree and then run off. That's Southern California. Wow, he got 11 with him. He got 5.
So he's such a dangerous killer, yet the media is all here just chilling with him, like it ain't nothing.
He's the man in heaven. You want to grab that mic? Yeah. We end up with the joint stuff here. You're unplugged. I don't mind. I won't. They don't mean anything anyway. To who? To those involved. Yeah, how do I know? It looks like it could be anything. We got searched like anybody else. Don't think all this stuff doesn't get through somebody's hands or a magnetometer. Well, he's wired into that mic so he can't move. Yeah, I don't even know. Can we take that mic off so we can move? Move very far. Yeah. We're not. We're just kind of looking around. Yeah, you guys always did play this. I don't.
I mean, this was in the 70s. This wasn't out long, not many years after the murders. And don't you think if he was really so dangerous, such a crazy killer and a hippie cult leader with magical powers, don't you think they'd have him like locked up and shit? Definitely not letting him just move about freely. But that doesn't make much sense now, does it?
Well, show me your picture. Just to say that one time around that you wouldn't know them. If it's something like that. Kitchen here in the hall and all and that comes with your office. But I do want to see this house. And what you basically do. Show me around. Well, basically I work with another guy. He's not here now. Yeah. Alone? And then you got to clean the rugs. On a group therapy session on rape. Yeah. And worked out well. So we decided to turn it off. You turn religious? Well, I've never turned religious. Now. Control. People that write. It's only there to read. Yeah, so you live in a world I don't know that much about. See? I know the hallways and the jails and the handball courts. I know the simple things. I know the spiders and what the lizards are thinking. And I see the birds and I look over the fence and I watch life go on in the world you live in. It's not the same world as the one I live in. I realize that. So, not to say it's bad or good or indifferent, but it just reaches the point of understanding that you know, and you've always known, as we all know, the same things that we all know.
So, you are religious in your own way?
Sure. In my way, yeah. I have respect for holy men. They're good men on the earth. Rich Dad is a good man. There's a lot of good men that I've met in my life that I have much respect for.
When you and Mel write a book, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to try to bring out in your book?
I never even thought of anything like that. I'd have to give that some thought. I was doing this on Mel's request. He wanted to write the book. I don't particularly care to explain nothing to you. I don't look up at any reason to bring my report card home anymore. Does that make sense?
Well, no, what I'm trying to find out is, what would you like to bring out in the book that can teach other people?
What can you teach other people?
That's what I'd like to know. What do you think you can teach other people?
That's what I'd like to know, too. I know how to be reborn and start all over. I start all over. I don't start all over with the same old, same old. I just start all over. Even though I might be old, I'm still brand new every day because I do one day at a time, just like that old convict used to tell me. Isn't that what he used to say that? One day at a time. So I've learned to live my life one day at a time.
Is there anything you think you can pass on that society really is missing and that you can tell them about?
Society knows when it wants to know. There's just a jellyfish. It's only controlled by the people who want to move the sheep around.
They'll tell them anything. Everybody knows that everybody's lying. Do you know anyone that tells the truth? Can you trust a lawyer? Can't trust a lawyer. You can't trust. Who can you trust? The president, Nixon, Watergate. Look at where your children are looking at from. Who can they trust?
So you would try to tell parents something about raising children?
I would try to tell the children how to help the parents.
How?
See, this reporter, I think he's doing a good job. I've seen this interview; it's been a while, but I've always thought he did a really good job. He doesn't try to argue with Manson. He doesn't try to poke at him. He just trying to talk to him. I like how they showed them just kind of hanging out with him before the interview, um, to just relax him a little bit and whatnot. And I think that is a very good approach to have when interviewing anybody. Honestly, it's always good to just kind of chill, relax, get comfortable with each other, and get comfortable talking to each other.
Realizing that the child, because he doesn't understand the child, but the child understands the parent. I've got talking to little kids, they tell the truth.
What do you want to point out of the book if you bring that out? What would you like to point out?
You people are on your road going where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to stop from going where you're going, I'm not going to stop you. You're going to your destruction, not mine. I've already established mine. I've already went through mine. I've been judged. The judge gave me 9 life sentences.
But hold a minute. You really are. But in your philosophical talk, a lot of people it'll go right over their heads. That's what I'm trying to say. Put it so they can understand it in lay language. Can we do that?
Well, it's sad all over, really. It's hard for me to express how much sadness that I've went through to reach this point of understanding that I'm now talking to you from. How are you going to help somebody that don't want help? Hit them in the head and make them do it?
Will your book do that? Will you try?
Will I try?
To explain that.
Will I try to help you people destroy me some more? Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's what I'm doing here.
Will your book help children? Help parents?
I don't know whether it would help anyone. I've never thought about that. You guys would have to show me what help is so I know what it is. You teach me, I'll learn. I'm just a little kid in mine. See, I've been in jail 30-some years. I never lived in your world outside. I'm like a little kid out there.
Will your life story help somebody else to understand how to proceed?
If it was possible to present everything that came down in the last few years in a proper perspective.
So, like I was saying before, he just said himself, Charles, he has no idea how to live in the outside world. He only knows how to live in prison. Um, he's very institutionalized, I guess. Uh, he that was how he was raised. He's raised, essentially in a little cell with a bunch of other criminals. So you put him out in the real world, he doesn't know what the heck to do. So, but that's hearing it from his own mouth right there.
It would be advantageous to other people, I would imagine. But if they had eyes in their head and they could see under the bed, they'd see that the head's of lead and eyes of wood. It doesn't really matter because rubber fingers is taking the hand off within the universe anyway. The level of comprehension that you hold in your mind is only taught you by a school book that's in a sorority house. My father jumps off the Second World War in the ruptured ducks that were in the little pins and the buttons in Section 8 in the nut wards, and all the people that have gone crazy.
Your father was crazy?
My father was all men that I've ever met in prison. Mel is one of my fathers. Creepy Carpus is another. I learned something from everyone. The cap.
Creepy Carpus, that's who taught him how to play guitar. I mentioned that in an earlier podcast. But yeah, Creepy Carpus actually taught him how to play guitar. But what he's saying here, he thinks of all those men, the men he was locked up with, the guards, etc. Those are his fathers. He never knew his real father. I believe he had a stepfather, but clearly being in prison most of his life, he probably didn't so much have a great relationship with him, and so he looked up to the men that were around him, which is, I think, what any child would do.
The wardens. I never missed anybody. I learned as much as I could from everybody I could get a hold of. And I've never met anybody that I couldn't learn something from. But now that I have learned what I've learned, I don't think you people want to know what I know. You wouldn't like it.
Why?
Well, because it's not very nice.
Well, why?
Because the people that you let run your lives aren't very nice. The people that govern you, the people that tell you people what to do, they're not good people.
Let me change the subject for a minute. You've been back on a job out of segregation for how long now?
I don't know. I got up and came out of here today.
How long have you been working in the shop?
I explained to you, I live one day at a time.
Right.
I don't have any other life outside one day at a time.
What brought you back into the mainline population?
What brought me back into the mainline? The preacher, with his love and respect and help, he got me back on the mainline.
Mm-hmm. After all those years of solitary and segregation, how is it?
Still, right now, I'm doing the same day I've always done. I've just had to bring it a long way. But it's still today, and it's still a good day. And every day gets a little better. No matter what you do to me.
Are you at peace with yourself?
Whatever that means, I never even thought about to ask myself if I was. I don't generally talk to myself. But I guess talking to yourself would be all right.
It's got to be that to me, you know. You want a sound check from us?
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
I want you to give this question a lot of consideration. You don't have to answer me now. But can you imagine what it would be like to be interrogated by the SS?
I don't know whether I could imagine it or not.
Think about it.
Oh, I know what their tactics are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I answer it after the interview?
There's no doubt about it, is there?
Can I answer it after the interview?
Very serious, isn't it?
Sure. Can I answer you after the interview?
No, you don't have to answer me. You can just think about it
I will.
in your everyday.
I'd really love to know his answer. Um, just the specific reporter's answer.
Okay. Let's talk about Helter Skelter. Berlioz' Peng Shu as a small would-be pop singer, as he described it, of little talent. How do you react to that?
Berlioz looks in the mirror every morning when he shaves. And that's the only person in Berlioz's world. Just him. Ask his wife. She knows it.
What about the accuracy of the book, though, Charlie?
He had the dates right and the names right, but he had a million illusions that had nothing to do with my reality. He was only trying and convicting his own reality. Didn't have anything to do with me. I've already been through all these prisons.
But he did paint you as probably one of the most universally known persons
To who?
around, to readers, people who read it.
And they believed it?
I don't know. What do you think?
And they're not as good as what they read, are they?
But the book, how accurate or inaccurate is it?
I never read it.
Didn't you brief it one time?
I read parts of it.
Yeah. How did you find it?
Like I say, it was reflections of what he was thinking. It had nothing to do with me. Seriously, the Charlie Manson that you created, that's not me. That's only an illusion in your minds. It hasn't got anything to do with me.
What's the real Charlie Manson?
I haven't really been able to make him up. See, I've just been reborn again, see, and I'm learning now. I'm starting all over, and I'm learning. The preacher's teaching me, the teacher's teaching me, the counselor's counseling me, and the doctor's looking out after me. The guards don't bother me that much, and I don't bother them that much. They do their jobs and raise their kids, and I do my job and do what I do for my kids.
You know, there was a time a while back where when you got out into the main line, you ran into trouble. I remember Bobby Davis up at Folsom.
I ran into trouble?
Well, you got into trouble.
Who told you that? You see what I'm saying?
Did it happen? Did you fight?
Many things have happened. No, I didn't fight.
Where you fought? Where somebody come after you?
Where I fought? Sure, I've been fought many times.
Did somebody come after you?
Someone come after me? No, someone could come after me if they wanted to.
But did they?
No, they've always left me here. Nobody wanted me.
You hadn't had any trouble on the outside?
On the outside where?
In prison.
In prison, no. In the population, no, I get along with most of the convicts. The good convicts that get along with themselves. There's much harmony in prison. More every day. There's much wisdom in prison. More every day.
Getting back to the book, what is this magnetism that people keep referring to? And it's been beyond that. People writing you, wanting to meet you, your people that you had in the desert. What is the magnetism?
Why don't you answer that question?
I'm asking that question.
Well, can't you see?
So tell me, what is it?
Well, what do you think it is?
Do you know?
Do you know?
Don't play games with me.
It's no game. I know. That's why. That's why you're asking questions, and I'm not asking you questions.
Okay.
You see, I don't need to ask you questions. I already know.
Could you tell me?
Sure, I can tell you. Do you have the time?
I'm here.
Who would you like to start?
Well, what is it? Go ahead and tell me.
What is what? Are you secure?
Charlie.
The government of the United States, the government has never been more secure. Never been more secure than it is right now.
Oh, but seriously, all right. What is it that draws people to you?
Motion, generating, attention, reality. I know. When you know, you just simply know. Jesus on that cross. You know he's there. Is he there? Is the cross there? I know the cross is there. You don't have to put me on the cross to witness for the cross. I can see the cross. Now what I'm trying to do is get back to earth so I can go out in the desert. I've already cleaned that thought up once. And you put another president in.
But you said,
and every time I clean it up, you put another president in.
You said people who are in harmony with you. What do you mean by that?
The people that are in harmony with themselves, in the will of a child. The child has a will. You tell the child to come here, and the child will walk over. You tell him to sit down, he'll sit down. He's just in the will of the child. God and his children are in the will of the child. It's just as simple as the Bible said that you must be as little children before you enter the kingdom of heaven. If the Christians had believed in the Bible, then we wouldn't have all this conflict. But evidently, the only ones that are in conflict now are the Christians. You know, like they don't seem to believe in their own God for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe they need to see him on the cross again. Or maybe they should pray for him to come out of the sky in a silver platter. Or, you know, I don't know. I'm just here, and you're there. And who is your reality? And where do you get your energy from? And where does your soul flow? And your thoughts? And how do you know you know? Unless you have to come and say, Charlie, how's the Dow Jones?
You read the Wall Street Journal.
Certainly I read the Wall Street Journal. I'm right at the top of your brain. And I'll read the Wall Street Journal until you let me walk out that door a free man. Or we'll just use Indian head pennies for earrings.
What if you did get a parole date in November? What would you do?
Then I would give it some serious thought. I don't have room in my mind for could-be's. I have to deal with it. Then I would probably have a date.
Do you know what you'd want to do?
Yes, I have many plans. A lot of plans. I'd like to clean up the water. I'd like to go up in the mountains and start at the top of the mountains and clean the springs up. Take all the pollution out of the water so I could drink it. Clean up all the green things and pick up all the old beer cans and clean all the way to the ocean. And then maybe we might be able to save a little air and water for our children. Because I'm living in my child's world now. I'm working on his world. My world already went to the gas chamber.
What if you don't get a date?
If I don't get a date, then I won't have a date.
Have you thought about it then? I know you want to get a date. What if you don't?
I gave it some thought, but not that much. I gave it thought in relation that it's possible that they'll be pushed to make some sort of move to alleviate the pressure that they've created on themselves. If there's any way that I could help that, I would, and that way I could achieve what I'm after also. All I want is what the Constitution said I can have. The liberty and the right to look for my freedom the way I want. If you gave the Constitution to me like you said you were supposed to, then I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have been here the last 11 years. But if you let your politicians play like they're Christians and use your courtroom to further their own purposes, then all you're doing is big business with your own children's lives. And it really doesn't make sense to me. But I don't have the president's spot to make any change. If I had the control to make the change, I have the power to. want to go up? No. Oh, yeah, I see it. So if I can get comfortable here, I might be able to sit all the way down.
My apologies, guys. This is just the way this one is uploaded onto YouTube. Um, so yeah, bear with me. It is ripped from an old VHS, I'm guessing, or even a newsreel. So just bear with me on that.
You know, we were talking about the book Helter Skelter.
Right.
Back. All right.
It's all right. Pretty good paper and all that. All this paper comes from trees. It's a shame to waste all your writing this trash for your children to be raised up in. You want your children to live according to the gospel of Helter Skelter?
Where are the inaccuracies in it?
Well, it would take me as long as it took him to point them out. It took him 2 years in court to invent them. It would take me 2 years in court to uninvent them and redo them and show the proper perspective of it.
Bulliosi.
Yeah. Helter Skelter simply means confusion. And if you don't see the confusion in the world, there's always been confusion in the world, then I guess you don't know what confusion means. But I get out of jail, and every time I get out of jail, society's moving a little faster, and they're doing crazier things. And I get out, and I can never adjust to it outside because it's almost impossible to do anything right. Everything is wrong to somebody. I mean, you have to hide, and you have day people and night people, and everybody all divided up. And
Did they make up the evidence introduced in court?
a big percentage of it they found and created themselves. They pushed a fingerprint together till it got to be, they justified it, and then sent it to another office and let them push it a little bit. Then another office, and they'd push it, and then finally they'd find another point till they finally come up with a fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
Then the people that supposedly left the fingerprint has never lied to me, nor I to them, told me, and I wasn't even there in that particular portion of the crime. I was over in this particular portion of it. In other words, all the little things that they come up with, like the trailer, the... Think about it.
Oh, I know what their tactics are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I answer it after the interview?
There's no doubt about it, is there?
Can I answer it after the interview?
Very serious, isn't it?
Sure it is. Can I answer you after the interview?
No, you don't have to answer me. You can just think about it.
I will.
In your everyday...
Sorry, this is supposed to be uncut, but that's clearly not the case here.
Let's talk about Helter Skelter. Bulliosi, Peng Shu, as a small would-be pop singer, as he described it, of little talent. How do you react to that?
Little talent, yet the Beach Boys stole one of his songs.
Bulliosi looks in the mirror every morning when he shaves. And that's the only person in Bulliosi's world. Just him. Ask his wife. She knows it.
What about the accuracy of the book, though, Charlie?
He had the dates right and the names right, but he had a million illusions that had nothing to do with my reality. My own reality didn't have anything to do with me. I've already been through all these prisons.
But he did paint you as probably one of the most uniquely known persons
To who?
around, to readers, people who read it.
And they believed it?
I don't know. What do you think?
And they're not as good as what they read, are they?
How accurate or inaccurate is it?
I never read it.
Didn't you brief it one time?
I read parts of it.
Yeah. How did you find it?
Like I say, it was reflections of what he was thinking. It had nothing to do with me. Seriously, the Charlie Manson that you created, that's not me. That's only an illusion in your mind. It hasn't got anything to do with me.
What's the
Yeah, Yoshi's book was full of all sorts of lies. I think they even got his height wrong. Um, just, I mean, from little details like that to the actual details of the case and stuff, um, it was complete bullshit. If you actually like, I've seen it drawn out on a board before, and it looked like what you would see on the typical crazy guy's wall. You know, all the with the red lines, all and like it was insane, and it made no sense. And if you just look at the simple uh, Trojan gone wrong theory, it makes complete sense. You know, it's much more plausible than the hippie cult leader with magic powers, and he can control your mind, he can brainwash you, and all that and stuff. Because yeah, no, I if Manson knew how to do that, the government would have like turned him into a weapon of sorts or something. You know what I mean? They would be learning from him. They'd be like, "How did you do it?" You know, all this, and yeah, that no, he'd be under experimentation and stuff for magic powers and shit. Like, not locked up in San Quentin. Uh, that's just my opinion on that. But you believe what you want.
real Charlie Manson?
I haven't really been able to make him up. See, I've just been reborn again. See, and I'm learning now. I'm starting all over, and I'm learning. The preacher's teaching me. The teacher's teaching me. The counselor's counseling me, and the doctor's looking out after me. The guards don't bother me that much, and I don't bother them that much. They do their jobs and raise their kids, and I do my job and do what I do for my kids.
You know, there was a time a while back where when you got out into the main line, you ran into trouble. I remember Bobby Davis up at Folsom.
I ran into trouble?
Well, you got into trouble.
Who told you that? You see what I'm saying?
Did it happen? Did you fight?
Many things have happened. No, I didn't fight.
Were you fought? Were somebody come after you?
Were I fought? Sure, I've been fought many times.
Did somebody come after you?
Someone come after me? No, someone could come after me if they wanted to.
But did they?
No, they've always left me here. Nobody wanted me.
You haven't had any trouble on the outside?
On the outside where?
In prison.
In prison, no. In the population, no, I get along with most of the convicts. The convicts that get along with themselves. There's much harmony in prison. More every day. There's much wisdom in prison. More every day.
Getting back to the book, what is this magnetism that people keep referring to? And it's been done that. People writing you, wanting to meet you. Your people that you had in the desert. What is the magnetism?
Why don't you answer that question?
I'm asking that question.
Well, can't you see?
So tell me, what is it?
Well, what do you think it is?
Do you know?
Do you know?
Don't play games with me.
It's no game. I know. That's why. That's why you're asking questions, and I'm not asking you questions.
Okay.
You see, I don't need to ask you questions. I already know.
Could you tell me?
Sure, I can tell you. Do you have the time?
I'm here.
Who would you like to start?
Well, what is it? Go ahead and tell me.
What is what? Are you secure?
Charlie.
The government of the United States, the government has never been more secure. Never been. More secure than it is right now. Oh, but seriously, I want to know. All right, man. What is it that draws people to you?
All right. Well, yeah, it looks like it just replays. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it here. I was really just kind of testing it out, streaming to multiple platforms at once. Two at the moment, but yeah. Um, so yep. I'll be back tomorrow with something else. We'll decide what that is later. Might be more Manson, might be some news. Depends what's going on. All right. See you guys later.